Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that might shake up everything you thought you knew about success, about competition, about getting ahead in this world. You see, most people are out there looking at what everybody else is doing. They're worried about the competition. They're worried about who's ahead of them, who's behind them, who's gaining ground. And while they're busy looking around at everyone else, they're missing the most important person in the entire equation. They're missing you. Now, I want to talk to you today about a principle that changed my life, and I've watched it change thousands of lives over the years. It's this: when you focus so intensely on developing yourself, on becoming better, on mastering your craft and your character, you don't just get ahead. You become something that the marketplace cannot ignore. You become a threat, not a threat in a negative sense, but a threat to mediocrity, a threat to the status quo, a threat to every excuse that says it can't be done. You see, here's what I've learned after all these years of studying success and working with people from all walks of life. The greatest competition you will ever face isn't the person sitting next to you. It isn't the company across the street. It isn't the person who got the promotion you wanted. The greatest competition you face is the person you were yesterday. And when you understand that, when you really grasp that concept, everything changes. Most people wake up and they're the same person they were the day before. Same habits, same thoughts, same actions, same results. And then they wonder why their life isn't changing. They wonder why success seems to elude them. They wonder why other people are getting ahead while they're stuck in the same place. But here's the key. You cannot have something different until you become someone different. You cannot attract a different result with the same level of thinking, the same level of discipline, the same level of effort. Let me share something with you that took me years to understand. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Read that again. Let it sink in. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So the question isn't, how do I get successful? The question is, who do I need to become to attract the success I desire? And that, my friends, requires an intense, unwavering focus on personal development. Now, when I say focus on yourself, I'm not talking about selfishness. I'm not talking about ignoring the needs of others or becoming so self-absorbed that you forget about service and contribution. What I'm talking about is taking radical responsibility for your growth, your development, your skills, your mindset, your habits, your health, your relationships, your finances, every area of your life. I'm talking about becoming a student of your own potential. You see, most people are casual about their development. They read a book once in a while. They attend a seminar when it's convenient. They work on themselves when they feel like it, and then they wonder why their results are so casual, so mediocre, so ordinary. But I'm here to tell you that extraordinary results require extraordinary commitment. If you want to become the kind of person that the marketplace rewards handsomely, you've got to make personal development your religion. You've got to study growth like a scholar. You've got to practice discipline like an athlete. You've got to commit to excellence like an artist commits to their craft. Let me ask you this. What did you do today to become better than you were yesterday? What book did you read? What skill did you practice? What weakness did you strengthen? What fear did you face? What habit did you build? You see, these are the questions that separate those who become threats from those who become statistics. Most people can't answer these questions because they're not focused on themselves. They're focused on entertainment, they're focused on distraction, they're focused on everybody else's business except their own growth. Here's a fundamental truth. The marketplace rewards value. It doesn't reward wishes, it doesn't reward hopes, it doesn't reward good intentions, it rewards value. And the more value you can bring, the more the marketplace will reward you. But here's the thing. You cannot bring extraordinary value by being an ordinary person. You've got to develop extraordinary skills, extraordinary discipline, extraordinary vision, extraordinary character, and that doesn't happen by accident. That happens by design. That happens through focused, intentional, daily commitment to becoming more. Now let me tell you what happens when you start focusing intensely on your own development. First, you start to notice things about yourself that you never noticed before. You start to see your patterns, your habits, your excuses, your limitations, and at first this can be uncomfortable. Most people, when they start to see these things, they turn away. They go back to distraction. They go back to blaming circumstances or other people. But if you have the courage to keep looking, if you have the courage to keep working on yourself, something incredible begins to happen. You start to change, not in superficial ways, but in deep, fundamental ways. Your thinking changes. The way you talk changes. The way you approach problems changes. Your standards change. Your expectations change. And as you change, your results begin to change. It's a law as reliable as gravity. You cannot change and stay the same. You cannot become more and attract less. It doesn't work that way. Let me share a story with you. Years ago, I was struggling. I was working hard, but I wasn't getting the results I wanted. And I was frustrated. I was looking at other people who seemed to be doing better, and I was thinking, what do they have that I don't have? And then I met a mentor who changed my perspective entirely. He said to me, Jim, the problem isn't what you don't have. The problem is who you haven't become yet. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized I had been focused on getting instead of becoming. I had been focused on having instead of being, and that was the problem. So I made a decision. I decided that I was going to focus on becoming the kind of person who could have the life I wanted. I was going to develop the skills, the disciplines, the habits, the character. I was going to read the books, attend the seminars, find the mentors, do the work. And I committed to doing this every single day. Not when I felt like it, not when it was convenient, but every single day without exception. And you know what happened? Everything changed. Not overnight. This isn't about overnight success. This is about consistent, persistent, patient development. But over time, I started to see results that I had never seen before. Opportunities started to show up that had never shown up before. People started to respond to me differently. My income started to increase. My influence started to expand. And it wasn't because the world changed. It was because I changed. I had become someone different. And therefore, I was attracting something different. Here's what I want you to understand. Every level of success requires a different you. The you that got you here won't get you there. The you that's making $50,000 a year cannot make $500,000 a year. That requires a different you. The you that's managing one person cannot manage 100 people. That requires a different you. The you that's running a small business cannot run a large enterprise. That requires a different you. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be is not just a gap in resources or opportunities or connections. It's primarily a gap in who you are. It's a gap in your development.
Now, when you start to close that gap, when you start to focus intensely on becoming more, something interesting happens with the competition. They start to notice you. They start to wonder what you're doing. They start to see that you're pulling ahead, that you're getting results they're not getting. And some of them will try to copy what you're doing on the outside. They'll try to copy your strategies, your techniques, your methods, but they can't copy what's happening on the inside. They can't copy your discipline. They can't copy your commitment. They can't copy your hunger for growth. They can't copy the hours you've invested in yourself. They can't copy the books you've read, the thinking you've developed, the character you've built.
And that's when you become a threat. Not because you're trying to threaten anyone, but because you've developed yourself to such a degree that you're operating at a level they can't compete with. You've invested in yourself so heavily that you've created a competitive advantage that cannot be duplicated. You focus so hard on yourself that you've become exceptional, and the marketplace always rewards the exceptional.
Let me break down what this intense focus on yourself actually looks like in practical terms. First, it means you've got to become a reader. You've got to become a student. You've got to feed your mind every single day with ideas that expand your thinking, that challenge your assumptions, that give you new perspectives. The books you don't read won't help you. The seminars you don't attend won't change you. The mentors you don't seek out won't teach you. You've got to be proactive about your education. Don't leave your development to chance. Don't assume you'll learn what you need to learn by osmosis. Be intentional. Be aggressive about it. Invest in books, courses, programs, coaches, anything that will help you become more. Second, it means you've got to develop your skills. Whatever you do, whatever your profession, whatever your craft, you've got to become excellent at it. Not mediocre, not average, excellent. And excellence requires practice. It requires repetition. It requires doing it over and over and over again until you've mastered it. Most people are not willing to pay that price. They want to be good enough to get by. But if you want to become a threat, you can't settle for good enough. You've got to pursue mastery. You've got to practice your craft with the dedication of a professional athlete preparing for the Olympics, because that's what it takes to reach the top of your field. Third, it means you've got to work on your habits. Your habits will determine your future more than your goals, more than your wishes, more than your dreams. Show me your habits and I'll show you your future. It's that predictable. If you've got the habit of reading every day, you're going to become knowledgeable. If you've got the habit of exercising every day, you're going to become healthy. If you've got the habit of saving and investing, you're going to become wealthy. If you've got the habit of practicing your skills, you're going to become excellent. But if you've got the habit of wasting time, you're going to waste your life. If you've got the habit of making excuses, you're going to live an excuse of a life. If you've got the habit of procrastinating, you're going to look back with regret. Your habits are either taking you toward your dreams or away from them. There's no neutral ground.
Fourth, it means you've got to master your mindset. You've got to learn to control your thinking because your thinking controls everything else. Your thoughts become your actions become your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. It all starts with thinking. And most people have not trained their minds. They let their minds run wild, thinking whatever thoughts happen to show up. They let fear dominate. They let doubt take over. They let negativity poison their potential. But you cannot become a threat with a weak mind. You've got to develop mental toughness. You've got to learn to think on purpose. You've got to choose thoughts that serve your goals, your vision, your growth. You've got to refuse to entertain thoughts of limitation, defeat, or impossibility. Fifth, it means you've got to take care of your body. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. If you don't maintain it, if you don't fuel it properly, if you don't keep it strong and healthy, it's going to break down on you. And when your body breaks down, everything else suffers. Your energy suffers, your thinking suffers, your productivity suffers, your income suffers. Everything is connected. So you've got to make your health a priority. You've got to exercise regularly. You've got to eat foods that nourish you. You've got to get adequate sleep. You've got to manage your stress. This isn't optional if you want to perform at a high level. This is required. Sixth, it means you've got to build your character. Skills will get you in the door, but character will keep you in the room. You can be talented and still fail if your character is weak. You can be smart and still sabotage yourself if you haven't developed integrity, honesty, discipline, persistence, patience, humility. These character qualities are what separate those who achieve lasting success from those who achieve temporary success and then lose it all. Work on your character like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Now here's what I've observed over the years. Most people spend more time planning their vacation than they spend planning their life. They spend more time choosing what to watch on television than they spend choosing what to read. They spend more time thinking about what they're going to eat than they spend thinking about what they're going to become. And then they wonder why their life is not going anywhere. You cannot be casual about your development and expect extraordinary results. The two don't go together. If you want to become a threat, you've got to treat your development like a professional treats their career. You've got to show up every day. You've got to put in the work whether you feel like it or not. You've got to be consistent when it's hard, when it's boring, when you're not seeing results yet. Because here's the truth. The results always lag behind the work. You plant in the spring, you harvest in the fall. There's always a gap. And most people quit during the gap. They put in some work, they don't see immediate results, and they quit. But the ones who become threats are the ones who keep going during the gap. They trust the process. They trust that if they keep developing themselves, if they keep getting better, the results will eventually show up, and they always do. Let me tell you about the compound effect. When you focus on yourself consistently over time, the results compound. It's like compound interest on your money. At first, you don't see much. You read a book and you learn a few things, you practice a skill and you get a little better. You develop a habit and it helps a little bit, but over time, those small improvements add up. They compound on each other, and eventually you reach a tipping point where everything accelerates, your income accelerates, your influence accelerates, your opportunities accelerate, but you've got to stay in the game long enough to reach that tipping point. You've got to keep investing in yourself even when you can't see the full return yet. Here's another key insight. When you focus on yourself, you stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is one of the greatest thieves of potential. When you're constantly looking at what everyone else is doing, you lose focus on what you need to be doing. You lose track of your own journey. You start measuring yourself by someone else's standards instead of your own potential. But when you focus on yourself, when you commit to becoming better than you were yesterday, comparison becomes irrelevant. Your only competition is who you were yesterday. Your only goal is to grow, to improve, to develop, to become more. And that's incredibly freeing. Let me ask you something. Do you know what you're capable of? Have you ever pushed yourself to your limits? Have you ever discovered what you can really do when you commit fully? When you give everything you've got? When you refuse to quit no matter what? Most people never find out. They live their whole life at about 40% of their potential, maybe 50% on a good day. But they never push themselves to discover what they're truly capable of. And that's tragic, because inside of you right now, there's potential that you haven't even scratched the surface of. There are abilities you don't know you have. There are achievements waiting for you that you can't even imagine yet. But you'll never discover them by staying comfortable. You'll never discover them by doing what you've always done. You've got to push yourself. You've got to challenge yourself. You've got to demand more from yourself. Now, when you start demanding more from yourself, something interesting happens. Other people start to notice. They start to see that you're different. They see that you're serious. They see that you're committed. They see that you're not playing around. And some of them will be inspired by that. They'll ask you what you're doing. They'll want to learn from you. They'll want to join you on your journey. But others will be threatened by it. They'll criticize you. They'll tell you you're working too hard. They'll tell you you're too intense. They'll tell you you need to relax, to take it easy, to be more like everyone else. And you know what? Let them. Let them be threatened. Because that's exactly the point. When you become a threat to mediocrity, you're going to get some pushback from people who are comfortable with mediocrity. That's how you know you're on the right track. But here's what you cannot do. You cannot let their opinion slow you down. You cannot let their criticism make you doubt yourself. You cannot let their comfort with average make you lower your standards. You've got to stay focused on your own development. You've got to keep your eyes on your own goals. You've got to keep doing the work that needs to be done, regardless of what anyone else thinks about it. Because at the end of your life, you're not going to stand before a committee of your critics. You're going to stand before yourself, and you're going to have to answer to yourself for what you did with your potential, with your time, with your opportunities. Let me talk about time for a moment, because time is the great equalizer. We all get the same 24 hours. The billionaire gets 24 hours. The person living in poverty gets 24 hours. The CEO gets 24 hours. The entry-level employee gets 24 hours. The difference is how we use those hours. The person who becomes a threat uses their time wisely. They invest their time in activities that develop them, that move them forward, that compound over time. They don't waste time on things that don't matter. They don't spend hours scrolling through social media. They don't spend their evenings in front of the television watching other people live their dreams. They're too busy working on their own dreams, developing their own potential, building their own future. Time is your most valuable asset, and yet most people treat it like it's worthless. They give it away freely to anyone who asks. They waste it on things that don't matter. They kill time as if time is the enemy, when time is actually the opportunity. Every hour you have is an opportunity to become better, to learn something, to create something, to build something. And when you start treating your time as the precious resource it is, when you start investing it wisely, your whole life changes. Now let me share with you the different areas where you need to focus on yourself. First, there's your professional development. Whatever you do for a living, you need to become the best at it. You need to study your field. You need to know more than your competition knows. You need to develop skills that make you indispensable. You need to bring so much value to the marketplace that you become the obvious choice. And this doesn't happen by showing up and doing the minimum. This happens by going above and beyond. This happens by doing more than you're paid for. This happens by treating every task as an opportunity to excel, to demonstrate your commitment to excellence. Second, there's your financial development. You need to learn how money works. You need to understand how to earn it, how to save it, how to invest it, how to multiply it. Most people never study finances. They work hard their whole life and have nothing to show for it because they never learn the principles of wealth building. But if you want to become financially independent, if you want to build real wealth, you've got to educate yourself about money. You've got to read books on personal finance. You've got to study investing. You've got to learn from people who have achieved the financial success you want to achieve. And then you've got to apply what you learn. Knowledge isn't power until you apply it. Third, there's your relational development. You need to learn how to build strong relationships. You need to develop communication skills, listening skills, empathy, emotional intelligence. Your success in life is largely determined by the quality of your relationships. Your relationship with your spouse, your children, your colleagues, your clients, your friends. If you're not good with people, you're going to struggle in every area of life. But if you develop the ability to connect with people, to understand them, to add value to their lives, doors will open for you that you never imagined. Fourth, there's your physical development. You've got to take care of your body. I mentioned this earlier, but it bears repeating. Your physical health affects everything else. When you're physically strong and healthy, you have more energy. You think more clearly, you're more productive, you're more resilient, you're more confident. But when you neglect your physical health, everything suffers. So make exercise a non-negotiable part of your routine. Make healthy eating a priority. Make sleep a priority. Your body is an investment that pays dividends in every area of your life. Fifth, there's your spiritual development. You need to connect with something bigger than yourself. You need to develop your values, your purpose, your sense of meaning. You need to spend time in reflection and meditation and prayer and contemplation. Whatever your beliefs are, you need to nurture your spiritual life. Because without a strong spiritual foundation, success feels empty. You can achieve all the external markers of success and still feel unfulfilled if you haven't developed yourself spiritually. Now here's the beautiful thing about focusing on yourself in all these areas. You become well-rounded, you become balanced, you become someone who can handle the success when it comes. Because here's what a lot of people don't understand. Success can destroy you if you're not ready for it. If you achieve success without developing the character to handle it, it will ruin you. We've all seen it happen. Someone achieves financial success and it destroys their family. Someone achieves fame and it destroys their character. Someone achieves power and it corrupts them. But when you focus on developing yourself holistically, when you work on all these areas simultaneously, you build a foundation that can support whatever level of success you achieve. Let me tell you what happens when you become a threat through focused self-development. First, opportunities find you. You don't have to chase them anymore. They come to you because you've developed yourself to such a degree that people want to work with you, invest in you, partner with you. Second, your income increases. The marketplace rewards value, and when you've increased your value dramatically through your development, your income reflects that. Third, your influence expands. People want to hear what you have to say because they can see that you're someone who has done the work, who has paid the price, who has achieved results. Fourth, your confidence soars. Not arrogant confidence, but the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've developed yourself, you've prepared yourself, you've earned your place. Fifth, your impact multiplies. When you become more, you can do more and give more. Your ability to make a difference in the world increases exponentially. But I want to be honest with you about something. This journey of intense self-focus, this commitment to becoming a threat through personal development, it's not easy. It requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires you to say no to things that other people are saying yes to. It requires you to spend your evenings reading and learning while others are watching television. It requires you to invest your money in books and courses and coaching while others are spending their money on entertainment and luxuries. It requires you to wake up early while others are sleeping in. It requires you to practice and work and study while others are relaxing. Is it worth it? Absolutely, because here's what I know after all these years. At the end of your life, you're not going to regret the work you put in. You're not going to regret the discipline you maintained. You're not going to regret the time you invested in yourself. But you will regret the potential you left untapped. You will regret the person you could have become but didn't. You will regret the life you could have lived but settled for less. So let me challenge you today. Make a decision right now that you're going to focus on yourself with an intensity you've never had before. Make a decision that you're going to develop yourself in every area of your life. Make a decision that you're going to become the kind of person who attracts success, who earns respect, who makes an impact. Make a decision that you're going to become a threat, not to harm anyone, but to challenge the status quo, to raise the standards, to show what's possible when someone commits fully to their own development. Start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you have more time or more money or more support. Start where you are with what you have. Read for 30 minutes today. Practice your skills for an hour today. Work on your habits today. Improve your thinking today. Take care of your body today. Develop your character today. And then do it again tomorrow. And the day after that. And the day after that. Because success is not about one big breakthrough. Success is about small, consistent actions repeated over time until they compound into extraordinary results. You have everything you need to start this journey right now. You don't need permission, you don't need approval, you don't need perfect circumstances, you just need decision, you just need commitment, you just need the willingness to do whatever it takes to become the person you're capable of becoming. And when you make that decision, when you commit to that path, when you focus so intensely on your own development that everything else becomes secondary, that's when you become dangerous. That's when you become a threat. That's when you become unstoppable. The marketplace is waiting for you. The world is waiting for the person you're capable of becoming. But you've got to do the work. You've got to pay the price. You've got to make the investment in yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. This is your responsibility. This is your opportunity. This is your time. Don't waste it. Don't squander it. Don't look back years from now and wish you had taken this message to heart. Take it to heart right now. Make the decision right now. Commit to the journey right now. Focus on yourself. Develop yourself. Push yourself. Challenge yourself. Invest in yourself. And watch what happens. Watch as you become someone you never thought you could be. Watch as you achieve things you never thought you could achieve. Watch as you attract opportunities you never thought you could attract. Watch as you build a life you never thought you could build. Watch as you become the threat that the world cannot ignore, that the marketplace cannot overlook, that your industry cannot compete with. This is your moment. This is your time. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to continue being casual about your development? Or are you going to get serious? Are you going to continue making excuses, or are you going to start making progress? Are you going to continue focusing on everyone else, or are you going to start focusing on yourself? The choice is yours. It's always been yours. Nobody can make it for you. But I can tell you this, if you make the right choice, if you commit to this journey of intense self-development, 5 years from now, you'll look back and you won't recognize the person you are today. You'll have grown so much, achieved so much, become so much more. And you'll be grateful that you made the decision to focus on yourself with everything you had. So go out there and become the threat, not through aggression or manipulation or stepping on others, but through excellence, through discipline, through commitment to your own development. Become so good at what you do that they can't ignore you. Become so valuable that the marketplace seeks you out. Become so well developed that opportunities flow to you naturally. Become the person who makes everyone else raise their game just by showing up. That's what it means to focus so hard on yourself that you become the threat. And that, my friends, is the path to a life well lived, a career well built, and a legacy well earned. The time is now. The person is you. The decision awaits. Make it count.